I wanted to come on here and discuss a very, very important topic. Probably one of the more important topics on my channel. Not saying that none of the things I talk about aren't important, but this one right here definitely hits home for many black people in America. So something happened recently, and it's about time that it finally happened, but I'm going to be honest. It took way too long to go into effect. Now, on your screen, you see a picture of Emmitt. I don't have to go into the entire narrative of what happened to him. We've heard that rather gruesome and unfortunate story so many times. But basically, a bill was introduced called the Emmitt Till Anti-Lynching Bill, which basically has now labeled lynching as a federal crime. And based on what I have read so far, and I am going to read the article, they have been trying for years to get this bill to actually be on the table, even before Emmitt Till was killed brutally. I believe they said 120 years that they've been trying to do this. So you got to think that this was going on for such a very, very long time. And, you know, lynching at one point was seen as just a way of life for many people to be done to black people in many forms. At that, lynching didn't just have to come in the form of hanging a black man or anything like that, although that was the traditional sense. But of course, you know, it wasn't until 1955 when Emmitt Till was brutally murdered at the age of 14, which is what kicked off the civil rights movement. And we're talking about 65 years ago when he was murdered. And they've been trying to put that law on the books, and it never, ever went through. Well, as of today, and I'm recording this video on February 26th, the Senate has finally got that bill to be passed along. And now all Donald Trump has to do is sign it, which they are expecting him to do. Now, based on the votes that came in for this bill, it was 410 to 4, meaning 410 people voted yes and 4 people voted no. Well, thanks to Twitter and Caressa McKnight, because she screenshotted and sent me this post because it was trending on Twitter. I think pretty much a good part of the day. They have revealed the names of the 4, at least by last name anyway, of who voted against it. Their names are Amash, Gomert, Massey, and Yoho. Now you got to put into perspective, these 4 individuals, while they pretty much got voted completely against and their votes at this point is invalid, the fact that they voted against something like this lets you know something about them in 2020. Well, first off, let me say all 4 of them are grade A trash. That means that they actually, in their mind, I guess, found a loophole to what this bill would represent. Mind you, like I said, this would make lynching a federal crime. So apparently, like I said, it must be something in there that they did not like. They need, at the fact that they even voted no, this should have been a unanimous vote. The fact that they even voted no, even though it was just for them, makes you want to have to look into their background and see what it is going on with them. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and read the article coming from NBCnews.com. It says, Congress makes lynching a federal crime 65 years after Emmitt Till. Congress previously failed to pass anti-lynching legislation nearly 200 times, starting with a bill introduced in 1900 by North Carolina Representative George Henry White, the only black member of Congress at the time. 65 years after the 14-year-old Emmitt Till was lynched in Mississippi, Congress has approved legislation designating lynching as a hate crime under federal law. The bill, introduced by Illinois Rep. Bobby Rush and named after Till, comes 120 years after Congress first considered anti-lynching legislation after dozens of similar efforts were defeated. The measure was approved 410 to 4 on Wednesday in the House and now goes to the White House, where President Donald Trump is expected to sign it. The Senate unanimously passed the legislation last year. It designates lynching as a federal hate crime punishable by up to life in prison, a fine, or both. Rush, a Democrat whose Chicago district includes Till's former home, said the bill will belatedly achieve justice for Till and more than 4,000 other lynching victims, most of them African Americans. Till, who was black, was brutally tortured and killed in 1955 after a white woman accused him of grabbing her and whistling at her in a Mississippi grocery store. The killing shocked the country and stoked the civil rights movement. The importance of this bill cannot be overstated, said Rush, a member of the Congressional Black Caucus. From Charlottesville to El Paso, we are still being confronted with the same violent racism and hatred that took the life of Emmitt Till and many others. The passage of this bill will send a strong and clear message to the nation that we will not tolerate this bigotry. Representative Benny Thompson, who represents the area where Till was abducted and murdered, called the anti-lynching bill long overdue, but said no matter the length of time, it is never too late to ensure justice is served. House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer used similar language to urge the bill's passage. It is never too late to do the right thing and address these gruesome, racially motivated acts of terror and that have plagued our nation's history, urging lawmakers to renew our commitment to confronting racism and hate. Democratic Representative Karen Bass of California, who chairs the Congressional Black Caucus, calls lynching a lasting legacy of slavery. Make no mistake, lynching is terrorism, she said. While this reign of terror has faded, the most recent lynching in the United States happened less than 25 years ago. Although Congress cannot truly rectify the horror and terror of these acts, Bass said a legislative body that once included slave owners and the KKK members will belatedly stand up and do our part so that justice is delivered in the future. Let's see if there's anything else here. Let's see. It says the bill makes clear that lynchings occupy a dark place in our history, story, and provides recognition to thousands of victims of lynching crimes, including Emmitt Till and many others. Like I said, this is something I wish could have been put on the books years ago. I'm glad that they finally got it. But like I said, as to those 4 names that voted against it, like I said, they need to look into their backgrounds. The fact that they wouldn't want something like this to be seen as a hate crime or a federal level crime says a lot about them, which means they are for, or if not, they're against this being, a federal level crime, but they are for the lynchings of black bodies in any way, shape, or form. And many of them probably feel that they are losing their grip on their, or I should say their control of a certain narrative. They're losing it, and they can't stand it. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you have your notifications turned on. Follow me on Twitter if you haven't done so already, and I'll talk to you in the next one.